What if the notebooks of a scientist remained too dangerous to touch, even a century after her death? In a quiet library in Paris, the notebooks of Marie Curie are housed not like ordinary papers. To see them, one must first sign a safety document. The pages lie inside lead-lined boxes, alive with radioactivity even today. The handwriting is faded, the paper fragile, but the energy contained within these pages has not vanished. This single image raises a strange question. What kind of life? Before the world recognized her as Marie Curie, she was Maria Skłodowska, born in Warsaw in 1867. Poland was not free then. It was under Russian imperial rule, which controlled schools, language, and memory. Polish history was forbidden in classrooms, and lessons had to be taught in Russian. For Maria, school was not just a place for learning, but a battleground against the power that sought to dictate young minds. Her father, a teacher of mathematics and physics, believed deeply in education. Yet the authorities did not trust him, leading to the loss of his position. The family fell into poverty, but in their home, scientific instruments remained. Glass tubes, measuring tools, small pieces of equipment. To some, they seemed ordinary, but to Maria, they were windows into a hidden universe. She craved to understand how things worked. Even as a child, Maria displayed a remarkable memory. She could read by the age of 4, and at school, she answered questions with confidence and clarity. However, intelligence alone could not open every door. The university in Warsaw did not accept women, not due to lack of discipline, but simply because she was a girl. So, Maria and other young women sought an alternative path. They joined secret classes known as the Floating University, moving lessons from one hidden place to another to evade the... Studying was a risky endeavor, but they persisted. Education became more than ambition. It transformed into courage, a means of keeping their minds alive against a world that sought to shrink them. Yet courage alone could not unlock a university door. If Maria wanted a true university education, she needed Paris. Maria and her older sister, Branya, made a serious pact. Branya desired to study medicine in Paris while Maria wished to pursue science. Their family lacked the resources for both dreams, so Maria agreed to work first as a governess, teaching other people's children. She would send her salary to Branya, and once Branya completed her studies, she would help Maria come to Paris too. This arrangement, simple in words, meant 5 long years of living in other people's homes, 5 years of teaching, all while her own future quietly awaited. 5 years of sending away nearly all she earned. This part of history often disappears. People remember the prizes, the discoveries, and the renowned name. But before the world knew Marie Curie, there was Maria, young and weary, studying alone at night after the household had quieted. She opened books on mathematics, physics, chemistry, and wrote letters to Branya, seeking guidance on what to read next. She trained her mind without a university, without professors, without applause. Her progress remained unseen, yet it was real. Her classroom was any quiet corner she could find. In 1891, at the age of 24, Maria finally boarded a train to Paris. There, she became Marie, not to erase her past, but to step into a new realm. Paris offered the Sorbonne, one of Europe's great universities, where women were welcomed. For Marie, it must have felt like the door had finally opened, but an open door does not guarantee. Marie lived in a tiny room near the university, devoid of proper heating. In winter, The water in her washing bowl froze overnight. Money was scarce. On some days, she subsisted on only bread and a bit of chocolate. Hunger sometimes made her faint during lectures. Yet, she continued to study diligently. In 1893, she earned her degree in physics, graduating at the top of her class. A year later, she obtained a second degree in mathematics, finishing second. The world would come to see her brilliance, but beneath that brilliance lay the chilling reality of a frozen room, an empty stomach, and a woman who would not cease. In Paris, science introduced her to another quiet soul, Pierre Curie. Pierre, a physicist, was serious, gentle, and dedicated to truth. Their bond did not begin as a romantic tale, but rather in the language of thought. They discussed science, then life, recognizing a shared pursuit for truth rather than noise. They married in 1895, and Marie chose practicality over tradition, wearing a dark blue dress instead of white. It was a dress she could wear again in the lab, a testament to her commitment to work over display. Together, Marie and Pierre labored in a damp, impoverished laboratory. Cold in winter and stifling in summer, the roof leaked, and the walls were unwelcoming. It was far from the glamorous image of groundbreaking discovery. Yet history often begins in unremarkable places. At that time, Henry Becquerel had observed something peculiar. Certain materials emitted invisible rays that could penetrate solid objects, yet their source remained a mystery. Marie began her investigation, measuring meticulously, comparing materials. Slowly, she reached a bold conclusion. The rays originated not from a reaction of two materials, but from within the atoms themselves. This revolutionary idea suggested that matter was not inert. Hidden energy resided deep within. Marie coined the term radioactivity, derived from the Latin for ray and activity, denoting the ongoing energy production from within. In 1898, Marie and Pierre announced the discovery of two new elements. The first was polonium, named after Poland, a tribute to her homeland, which at the time did not exist as a free nation. The second was radium, a name reflecting its nature. It was powerful, mysterious, and beautiful, emitting a faint blue glow in dark. Imagine that modest laboratory at night. Tired hands, heavy silence, cold air, and on the shelves, a soft blue light illuminating the dark. Yet the discovery of that glow was no easy feat. Marie and Pierre processed tons of pitchblende, a mineral containing minuscule amounts of radioactive material. They stirred large pots, filtered, separated, and repeated this arduous work over the glow did not reveal itself swiftly. It had to be extracted from stone through relentless patience and toil. In 1903, Marie Curie received the Nobel Prize in Physics, shared with Pierre and Henry Becquerel. She became the first woman in history to receive a Nobel Prize, finally gaining recognition for her work. Yet, this acknowledgement was not the end of her chapter. In 1906, tragedy struck. Pierre was crossing a street in Paris on a rainy day when a horse-drawn carriage struck him, claiming his life that very day. Marie lost more than a husband. She lost her closest scientific partner, her dear friend, and the one who had stood with her in the relentless pursuit of the unseen. Grief enveloped her, but it did not halt her work. The University of Paris offered her Pierre's teaching position, and she accepted, becoming the first woman to hold a full professorship at the Sorbonne. On her first lecture day, she sat down, opened her notes, and began precisely where Pierre's last lecture had concluded. She turned her grief into a continuation of their shared journey. In 1911, Marie received a second Nobel Prize, this time in chemistry for her discoveries of polonium and radium, and for isolating pure radium. She became the only individual to win Nobel Prizes in two different sciences. Yet the world was not yet ready to embrace her fully. The French Academy of Sciences denied her membership by a single vote, not for lack of achievement, but simply because she was a woman. As the First World War commenced, Marie turned her scientific expertise toward healing. She developed mobile X-ray units, dubbed petites Curies, transporting X-ray machines to hospitals near the front lines. Doctors used them to locate broken bones and foreign objects within injured soldiers. Marie trained nurses and even drove near field hospitals. More than 1 million soldiers benefited from these mobile X-ray units, showcasing how her science transcended the laboratory and entered realms of pain and human need. However, the illumination she discovered came at a cost. For years, Marie worked with radioactive materials, unaware of the full extent of the dangers. She handled radium, carried test tubes, living close to the very force she had named. In 1934, Marie Curie passed away at 66, succumbing to aplastic anemia, a disease linked to prolonged radiation exposure. Her discoveries revolutionized medicine and science, yet they also took a toll on her body. The story returns to the beginning. The notebooks in Paris, housed in lead-lined boxes, their pages still. These notebooks are more than hazardous relics. They embody the essence of Marie Curie's life. Her inquiries remain. Her sacrifices linger. Her legacy persists. The blue glow of radium in the dark captures wonder and danger, hope and cost, discovery and loss. Marie Curie was born into a world that told her no. No for being Polish, for being poor, for being a woman, for being an outsider in science. Yet again and again, she forged her own path. A secret classroom, a late-night study, a frozen room in Paris, a damp lab, the blue glow in darkness. Her story reminds us that history is shaped not only by grand victories, but by quiet determination. By a student studying in solitude, by a mind refusing to close, by a spirit that endures through loss. Marie Curie did not create light overnight. She pursued one question after another, and gradually, the invisible became powerful enough to transform. Perhaps that is the deepest glow she left behind, the belief that patient effort can leave a lasting mark long after a life has faded. What aspect of Marie Curie's journey resonates with you the most? The radioactive notebooks, the 5 years of sacrifice before reaching Paris, the enchanting glow of radium, or her courage to continue after profound loss? Share your thoughts and inspire.